Hi, I'm Callie from CRK Training. I'm here today with Molly, and in today's video we're going to talk a little bit about getting ahead of or behind the motion. So this is something that most of us have heard a lot. We've heard other riders saying, oh, she's ahead of the motion, or oh, he definitely got behind right there over that jump. And I think it's something that sometimes we don't really know what it looks like, or we don't really understand the concept. So what I'd like to do today is talk about it a little bit, talk about some other things in the way that we're riding that might set us up to feel like we're ahead or behind, and then also show you what this looks like and give you a few tips for finding a much better position, a more with the movement position when you're riding. So we're going to actually start here with ahead of the motion and with the typical position that we see or that we feel when we get ahead of the motion. So a lot of times when a rider is ahead of the motion, we'll see that they're in more of kind of that either tight or kind of that anxious position. So usually it's a little bit more tipped forward here. We'll usually see like a tighter leg, maybe a pinching in the knee, and usually we'll see just a little bit more tension in the arms. And not necessarily, but these are just some of the main things that typically when a rider gets ahead, it's these kind of things that will put us ahead. So I can even feel at the walk here like I'm kind of tipped forward a little bit, like I'm not really in balance with Molly. And usually when we're out of balance, things only get worse when we pick up the pace. So I'll ask her for a trot so we can see it even a little bit more as soon as she takes her break here. So we'll pick up the trot here. So at the trot, as I'm doing a sitting trot here, you can probably see it even a little bit more. I feel like I've got a brace on my stirrups to have my balance, like I'm kind of hovering over her back, and it just feels very, very out of sync. Now as I come around here again, I'll stop and we'll talk a little bit about what happens when a rider gets behind the motion. So when we get behind the motion, it's usually because we end up coming too far back here. We might kick the legs forward in kind of that chair seat position, and she just wants to stop when I do that because it's not very comfortable for her either. So again here, even at the walk, I can already feel it doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm driving her forward. I've got kind of a lot more movement in the rest of my body. And again here as I pick up the trot, we kind of see the same thing. I feel like now that I'm behind, I'm kind of getting thrown around a little bit more. And again, that I'm just very out of sync with her. Now, what we're going to do is as she's trotting, I'm just going to think about bringing my legs into a more regular, more natural position. I'm going to think about coming taller through my body and just bringing my center or my balance point back in line with hers. Until I feel that moment where I just feel like I'm with her, and all of a sudden the movement and the trot, in this case the sitting trot, just feels a lot easier again. So it's at this point now that I feel like I'm with Molly's movement. So I hope you could see the difference, and then that was a useful demonstration to see when I was ahead and then when I was behind, and then when I was able to find that spot in the middle where I was a lot more centered and I was able to be a lot more comfortable, and Molly was a little bit more comfortable in her movement as well when I was in that position. So this can be actually a really good thing to play with a little bit. Sometimes it helps us to feel the incorrect balance, or to feel kind of that out of balance position, and then find ourselves coming back into balance. So I encourage you to play with it a little bit, even just at the walk or a slow trot like I did here, with coming ahead a little bit, and then coming behind, and then finding that spot where you feel centered again. So in the comments, I want you to leave me a comment and tell me about one time where you got either ahead or behind. So it might be a certain time, like you know, maybe there was a time that your horse jumped a stream and you got really behind the motion, Or it could be a habit that you know you have, like for example, when you approach jumps, maybe you know you tend to get a little bit ahead, or if you get nervous when maybe you pick up the canter, you get a little bit ahead. So go ahead and leave in the comments if you can pick out a time that you get ahead or behind. I look forward to seeing you there. And as I always say, if you're watching this anywhere besides crktrainingblog.com, go there. That's where I've got a lot of other videos for you, and the best conversation, questions, and everything happens over there as well. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks so much for watching.